But if someone's watching this right now and is really in what Jordan Peterson would describe as the state of chaos, or the state that you were in your late 20s before you had your awakening, and they hear you and they say, well, just, taking that first breath isn't going to do it. If they're really just out of sorts right now, what would be some way that you think you could help shake them out of it? Give them something concrete that would help them stop on this thing and fix themselves, or begin the process, let's say.
Yeah. Well, the best starting point is the present moment. Now, whatever I say, any advice I give, it's quite possible, if not likely, that their conditioned mind will deny what I say, and it'll say, that's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So don't believe what I say now. If your mind says this is not going to work, don't believe what your mind says. Just try what I'm saying now. So become more fully conscious of the present moment right now, because that's all there ever is. Your entire life is experienced and unfolds in the present moment. Most humans don't seem to even realize that, because they always live as if some other moment were more important than this one. You need to honor this moment. It's the basis for the future, how that unfolds, which never comes, because when it comes, it's the now. And the past never happened except when you remember it. It's always, and you remember it now. So come into the present moment. Be aware of your breathing. And another one I recommend anybody, this is actually very powerful. It sounds almost too simple, but it's very powerful. Feel the aliveness inside your body. And if you don't know what I mean, usually I advise people to close their eyes, hold their hand like this, and ask themselves, without looking at my hand or moving my hand, how can I know whether my hand is still there? That question requires you to direct attention into your hand. And then after a few seconds, you'll probably feel a little bit of a tingling or aliveness in your hand. That is the beginning of being able to feel what I call the inner body. This is the energy field that pervades every cell in the body. If you can start with the hands, then you feel your legs, your feet, your hands simultaneously, and then you incorporate the totality of your body, and so your attention is moved from your mind. You've taken consciousness into the body. So one could say you're now inhabiting your body consciously. And it's a very lovely feeling, and you'll notice that you're no longer thinking very much. You can't. And all the problems that you have, to a large extent, were created by dysfunctional thinking and the emotions that accompany dysfunctional thinking. Most of the problems reside in your mind. So if you are able to become more present, then you access a higher or deeper dimension of consciousness. And to become more present, you have to be able to step out of your mind without losing consciousness. So the consciousness goes into the body, and the body becomes an anchor. You can hold it for several minutes at a time, becomes an anchor for being present. Become as present as you can, also present of sense perceptions. It's very important. Sense perceptions can also bring you into the present moment. An expression you could use is come to your senses, in both meanings of the word expression. Come to your senses, look around, consciously take everything in without needing to label it mentally. And then you're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of your inner energy field. You're in the present moment. And in the present moment, there's no problem. There's an emergency sometimes. Yes, then you have to act. But it's not an emergency. Here's no problem. Then your ability to deal with your so-called problems becomes much greater if you're able to access the power of your presence. Then when you choose to deal with your problems, say, okay, now I apply focused thought. What can I do? And then you return to presence. It's always going, thinking, back into, learn what presence is. It's there. It's the kingdom of heaven is at hand, said Jesus. It's right here. It's right here. Don't look for it elsewhere. And then you realize a lot of the unhappiness in one's life, the Buddha called it dukkha, suffering. He says every human suffers unless they have awakened. And a lot of the suffering is not due to your life circumstances, although most people think it is. The larger part of your suffering is due to your mental commentary about your life circumstances. Your mind is telling you something that creates the unhappiness. Even you can test it out in a simple situation. You're in line somewhere, you get irritated, it's taking too long, you're waiting. You get very angry and irritated. And then experiment, how would I experience this situation without adding any thought to it? Mm-hmm. If I didn't add any thought to this moment, and then suddenly, oh, it's actually fine. It's not, before you were unhappy, but you were not unhappy because you had to wait, you were unhappy because of the narrative in your mind. So there are millions of people who carry very toxic narratives in their mind, and they call it my life. That's not... It's a terrible burden they carry around. It doesn't have to be like that. And the essence of all spirituality is to be able to step out of that, realize if only a little bit of self-transcendence, which is inner spaciousness, and then that grows. And then you can begin to sense there is a power in you that transcends the person. And that is also the place where you can transcend the feelings of happiness and unhappiness, which fluctuate continuously. I'm not saying it's not happiness that you ultimately find. Happiness is a little bit superficial. Hey, yeah, I made it. And the next day you're the opposite. It's something that transcends happiness and unhappiness. It's a deep sense of rootedness in being, of a deep sense of inner peace that really has nothing much to do with your personal circumstances. I've had letters from people in prison who have written to me, said, I feel free now because I've read your book and I've practiced it and my life is transformed and now I'm teaching others. I've had many letters from prisoners. So it's well, no matter what your life circumstances are, the message is, wake up. Wake up out of complete identification with your mind. And so that's the ultimate purpose in life, is to awaken